Like on my day-to-day level and in relationships, I'm quite successful, but there's kind of this emotional wall.
In my own personal journey of healing, I just kind of felt a little bit stuck.
The thing about the tools is that they were so playful. They were so fun.
Whenever I feel depressed or, I just go to my room and just listen to one of your meditations.
You can actually enter into an experience where you'll actually meet your soul. As crazy as it sounds.
It got me almost into a flow state. Things just came to me.
Your course molded us to where we could be open to receiving what we were asking or looking for.
It's just helpful for everyone, no matter like how in tune with yourself you are.
Now I'm very, very hopeful that things will get much better.
If you're going to do this, go all in. It will be worth it. Buckle up.
Welcome. My name is Brianna McWilliam, and I'm a licensed and board-certified creative arts therapist. And over the past 18 years, I have helped adults struggling with insecure attachment styles find loving and secure relationships. I am also a 2-time author and have published articles in such publications as The Good Man Project, Choosing Therapy, Up Journey, The Elephant Journal, and Tiny Buddha. I have had the privilege of working with more than 6,000 clients and students to help them experience more love and happiness in relationships. But it wasn't until I went through my own dark night of the soul that I truly figured out how to combine my knowledge and experience with energy healing practices and art therapy techniques to heal my inner child and unconscious attachment wounding. This totally changed my life. It took me from believing that I was unworthy of lasting love and happiness to knowing in my heart and soul that I am deserving of deep, soulful connections. Not only that, but it helped me to stop sabotaging my relationships and start embracing vulnerability and trust. This transformation allowed me to feel a profound sense of inner peace and ultimately attract and maintain secure and loving relationships. Now, if you're here, I suspect that you are a successful, resilient, empathic, and growth-oriented person who also wants a passionate and secure relationship without confusing mixed signals, emotional unavailability, or needing to compromise your needs and settle for a lack of chemistry. And you might have tried things like talk therapy and counseling or various self-help workshops and online courses that provided a lot of insight, but no real change in how you felt or the dynamics that you wanted to change, leaving you feeling discouraged, hopeless, confused, or frustrated. You may have even started to believe that experiencing a loving and soulfully intimate relationship is either unrealistic or it's just not possible for you. But it does not have to be this way. Soul-shaking relationships are more than possible. In fact, they're even probable when you apply what I have discovered to your own personal growth and intimate relationships. So, what did I discover? I call it the PATH framework. It is a tried and true, straightforward 4-phase framework that guides you to experiencing deep, soulful connections and lasting emotional security while achieving greater self-awareness and inner harmony. This framework is for highly capable and conscientious professionals who want emotionally healthy and secure relationships, whether you are partnered or single. The PATH is so powerful because it moves beyond talk therapy and counseling, manipulative dating strategies, or sleazy gimmicks, and instead defines secure relationships as an extension of the connection that you have with your own core spiritual self. Now, I cannot guarantee what the results will be if you apply what you've learned here today to your relationships, but I can say that there have been many success stories of individuals that took this information that I'm going to share with you here today to heart, and they challenged themselves to grow in love to positive result. Now, what can you expect in this training? Well, first, I'm going to define the success-driven heartbreak cycle and soul-centered security for you. Then we are going to dive into the PATH framework. We will also debunk some of the biggest myths that keep highly successful and insightful individuals from experiencing the loving relationships that they really want. And these myths sound like, once I'm healed enough, I will attract the perfect partner, or my existing partner will love me more. If I focus on my bad thoughts and feelings, I'm going to manifest negativity in my life. The only way to know if I am truly healed is if my soulmate shows up or my partner shapes up to prove it to me. Once I've learned how to practice spirituality and manifestation practices the right way, I'll never have to struggle again. Put another way, if I'm struggling, I must be doing something wrong. After debunking these myths, I'll share some more testimonials from folks that saw real results from my program and tell you a little bit more about what to expect from our Hungry Love Masterclass. This training is a taste of what a high-touch live group coaching experience has to offer, and it is tailor-made for spiritually minded professionals who like their self-help and pop psychology with a mystical new age twist. Basically, if you are looking for practical tools to turn your relationships into safe containers for shared growth and personal development while manifesting the life of your dreams, this presentation is for you. Now, we are going to cover a lot of ground, but we're going to move quickly. And most people find that by the end of this presentation, things that they have struggled with start to click. You can also speed up the playback if you like. And at the end, you will have a clear understanding of whether or not my Hungry Love Masterclass and the Path Framework can help you experience soul-shaking relationships in your life. You can't skip through the video, however, because I don't want you to enroll in the program unless I have full confidence that you are making a fully informed decision. And again, even if you decide not to join us, by the end of this video, you will walk away with a powerful roadmap and profound insights that you can take with you into your own personal growth practices. Lastly, be sure to download the workbook attached to this video, which will provide an outline for this training and highlight the areas that you will want to take notes on. And if you decide that you would like to learn more, click the button below and it will take you to our full course information page. So let's dive into the Path Framework. My Hungry Love Masterclass and Path Framework is a clearly defined roadmap guiding you through a deeply profound healing process and a sense of purposefulness and personal fulfillment, while providing practical tools that you can use over and over again. And you don't need to be a counselor in training, a yoga instructor, or healed from all your emotional baggage before diving in. While the concepts we cover are somewhat advanced, like turning on a light switch, you don't have to grasp every nuance of how electricity works in order to enjoy and benefit from the illumination. Essentially, this program works best for someone who is an avid learner and essentially optimistic, that likes to ask big questions and explore new things. Someone who wants to become increasingly emotionally intelligent and personally empowered and self-confident, while tapping into their creative intuition and create a sense of ease and flow in their life and relationships. This program is for someone who is ready to dig into their shadows and explore the unending, mysterious depths of their own soul as a path to finding the love that they truly seek. Now, given that, my Hungry Love Masterclass and the Path Framework is not a magic bullet. It is not for people looking for formulaic scripts or manipulative dating strategies aimed at seducing or cajoling someone based on their attachment style. It's not for individuals that think spirituality is nonsense or woo-woo. But it is also not for the dogmatically religious. Lastly, it is also not for individuals that don't believe that loving relationships are worth investing in. Now, the Path Framework rests upon three important premises. Number one, relationships both reflect and shape our emotional lives. So relationships act as both a mirror for and a mold for our internal emotional landscape. They reflect back to you your deepest feelings and also shape how you experience and express those emotions. Number two, desires are hungry energy forms. So anything you desire, including a relationship, is ultimately about chasing a feeling. You believe that once you have what you want, you will feel a certain way, and a feeling is a nuanced quality of energy flowing through your body. And number three, the inner child is the key to transformation. Now, the concept of the inner child helps you understand how emotional energy and limiting beliefs operate beyond your conscious awareness and in the body. By connecting with your inner child, you can gain the control needed to change those beliefs, experience the nuanced quality of energy that you are hungering for, and manifest the life that you fully desire. So now let's begin by defining the success-driven heartbreak cycle and how soul-centered security can help you break that cycle. Now, most of my students are ambitious, high-achieving, responsible, kind-hearted, and determined to improve upon themselves. They show up as highly capable partners that are willing to put into the work to make a relationship succeed. But sometimes it is our strengths that can get us into trouble when it comes to our romantic relationships, especially if those strengths evolved from past painful experiences that impacted our blueprint for love in relationships. So, for example, do you tend to lean too heavily on self-reliance, making it a challenge to fully trust and depend on others? Perhaps you avoid intimacy altogether or deem yourself a burden and suppress your needs in love while people-pleasing. Do you prioritize career success over your personal relationships, believing that that is what makes you valuable and worthy in love? Do you struggle with perfectionism and hold yourself or your partner to unrealistic expectations in relationships? Do you hide behind your generosity, giving away what you would truly like to receive? Or do you avoid conflict by taking on more responsibility than is your due, while withdrawing emotionally? If any of these apply, I call this the success-driven heartbreak cycle. And it is a paradoxical loop in which highly accomplished individuals find that the very traits that drive their professional successes become obstacles in love. Rooted in early attachment wounds, these strengths often arise from a deep-seated need to earn love, inadvertently creating energetic barriers that keeps genuine emotional connection just out of reach. And so this cycle traps people in a frustrating pattern of gaining a lot of insight, but then experiencing very little change or improvement as a result of it. And so people stuck in this cycle usually have some negative assumptions about love, which sound like, I have to work hard to have a functional relationship. If I stop trying or initiating, nothing happens or would ever get done. I'm not allowed to have needs or desires in a relationship because it always pushes my partner away. They also tend to behave in ways that might seem normal or high performing, but actually betray a habit of compensating for unacknowledged worthiness issues due to early attachment injuries. So this may look like holding themselves to impossibly high standards and feeling inadequate when they cannot meet them, or struggling to accept compliments graciously and downplaying their accomplishments. Maybe they engage in negative self-talk, constantly comparing themselves to others. Or maybe they struggle to set boundaries and say yes to requests in an effort to gain approval. Now, the secret to breaking the success-driven heartbreak cycle is cultivating soul-centered security in your life. Soul-centered security is transforming our attachment styles through the profound lens of spirituality. It's accomplishing secure attachment by recognizing our spiritual curriculum in this lifetime. Now, inhabiting soul-centered security doesn't mean that you have to have healed all your insecurities. There's a common misconception about what it means to be secure. Well, I'm an anxious person because I worry a lot, but a secure person must not worry. So when I worry less, I will be more secure. But the difference is not the worry. The difference is how identified an anxious person is with their worry versus how unidentified a secure person is with that very same worry. So being secure doesn't mean that the worry isn't there, but it does mean that you have more free will and spaciousness inside buffering its effect. So you wind up questioning the worry. You say, wait, let's do some reality checking before we go making assumptions that makes us feel rotten about ourselves. In other words, you don't take it all so personally. But there is more to this story. Now, let's say you've become aware of how much you're worrying, and instead of detaching from the worry, you start worrying about how much you're worrying. This is what I call a double trouble. And at that point, more information is only going to feed the beast. Because sometimes insight and intellectual understanding can actually make you feel worse if you don't know how to intentionally move that type of mental energy on the body level, thereby transmuting it. Now, this is where the inner child comes in. So the inner child is an unconscious aspect of our personality that splits off and becomes disconnected from the spiritual core due to early attachment injuries. These early injuries do not have to be severe. In fact, many of my clients grew up in what they call normal childhood homes and still feel anxiety and insecurity because a younger part of them simply got confused and disconnected. And when the inner child is in distress, it can manifest as specific struggles in relationships. These include intense emotional reactions to seemingly minor events, fears of abandonment, constant worry, difficulty with boundaries, or choosing unsuitable partners and experiencing intense attraction to them. Still, in other cases, it might be more subtle or hidden, such as a generalized feeling of being stuck or frustrated and just not knowing why. Now, in this case, there might be other characters in your subconscious mind and emotional body that kind of satellite around the inner child, and they aim to hide and protect the inner child at all costs. And these characters are very smart and they are very capable at their jobs. These protector parts take all of your hard-earned knowledge and insight and they repackage it around that stuck energy so you don't recognize where the resistance is coming from or why. For example, Cynthia grew up with a functional alcoholic for a mother who was loving but permissive and often unpredictable in her mood swings. Cynthia became the little parent to her siblings to compensate for her mother's unavailability and grew up to become a successful lawyer herself. However, after 10 years in her field, she was burnt out and feeling spiritually arid. She'd saved up enough money to give herself a break while pursuing a career change. During that time, she dove deep into self-help and New Age spiritual practices. She would attend every yoga class in a 5-mile radius of her home, changed her diet to include various food restrictions, and voraciously consumed online classes while attending retreats, workshops, and other events. However, she still could not seem to touch the emptiness she felt inside, and this manifested as a desperate yearning for a romantic partner. Now, the reality is, all of the long hours and frantic energy Cynthia used to spend on court cases and client meetings, she was now burning on yoga and spiritual retreats. It was the same energy, just in different packaging. And so a part of her still felt the need to prove herself through exhaustive efforts to earn and deserve her right to find love and prove she was worthy of it. Now, if any of this sounds familiar, not to worry. By learning to connect to your spiritual core and meet the needs of your inner child, you unlock its unique gifts, paving the way for soulful intimacy. Then, emotional support, vulnerability, and reciprocity in love comes from a place of generosity and free will, rather than a desperate need to find relief from fear, satisfy insecurities, or validate worthiness concerns, which is what I call being in a state of hungry love. When we are caught in the throes of hungry love, we get trapped into believing in these 4 myths I mentioned earlier, which can make stepping into soul-centered security a little tricky. Now, that is where my PATH framework comes in. Now, the word PATH stands for Purge Limiting Beliefs, Awaken to New Realizations, Transform Your Perspective, and harmonize with spirit. So let's dive a little more deeply into this. And you may want to pull out your workbooks now. Now, in the first phase, Purge Limiting Beliefs, the primary goal is to determine what is your soul really asking for. Now, in this phase, we recognize that our wants and our desires initially tend to be led by fear. In this stage, the challenge is to learn to embrace our fears as a gift and road sign, pointing us towards a larger spiritual lesson and curriculum in love. At this stage, growth tends to feel like it's stalled out and all the right things haven't been working. And so when people come to me in this phase, they tend to harbor the myth that if I try harder to heal and perfect myself, I will attract the perfect partner, or my existing partner will love me more. But the truth is that this myth generates an energy that keeps you earning love, which is the manifestation of not feeling good enough just as you are. And it sets up a condition of love. This always keeps you apart from yourself. And so you will attract relationships and/or relationship dynamics that also keep real love and intimacy just out of your reach and apart from you. So for example, many people say that they want a relationship in order to feel loved and believe that it is the only way to feel loved. But their spirit really wants them to see that love is available with or without a romantic partner. And when we think it has to come in a very specific form, we pinch ourselves off from it. And so we have to let go of this need to earn love, look at the fear beneath all that efforting, and identify the real underlying spiritual lesson that your desire is pointing you towards. Do your wants stem from spirit, or do they stem from fear? Now, in the first part of our program, lessons 1 through 3, we name and claim your deepest desires. Then we reveal the limiting beliefs that they trigger, and then we connect with your inner child who holds on to these beliefs. This helps to shift your desires to come from a place of spiritual alignment instead of fear. It also helps to reduce negative thoughts and build a compassionate relationship with your inner child, which initiates this journey of transformation. Next, we have awakening to new realizations. Now, in this second phase, the primary question that we are addressing is, what root pain or core belief is holding you back and requires healing? So the goal here is to raise the root pain or the core belief into awareness and then revise it with energetic approaches. This is essentially a process of unburdening the inner child. Now, most objections that pop up in this phase express the following myth. But if I focus on the bad thoughts and feelings, I will perpetuate negativity in my life. But the truth is that the most positive orientation that you can assume is that there are no bad feelings and that all of your experiences are contributing to your soul's expansion, cluing you into an unfolding curriculum for learning more about love and connection from the inside out. Additionally, if you ignore past traumas and or unconscious negative beliefs, their energetic momentum and magnetism will intensify internally, and this becomes mirrored in your outer experience. And so in the Awakening to New Perspectives phase, lessons 4 through 6, we explore how your inner child uses protection mechanisms like the inner critic or short-term escapes. We will teach your body to safely hold emotional energy and release deep pains and wounds. This process helps you to understand the roots of your internal conflicts while reducing anxiety and relaxing the body. This allows you to create space for new beliefs and open up to love and its opportunities. In the third phase, transform your perspective, the primary question that we address is, what new beliefs do we need to adopt and how can we model them for your inner child? Now, most of the objections that pop up in this phase express the following myth. Well, the only way to know if I am really healed is if my soulmate finally shows up or my current partner shapes up to prove it to me. Now, the truth is there is no one-size-fits-all answer to what healing looks like because we are all unique on our journeys and they are unfolding in perfect timing. Additionally, anything you want because you think you will feel better in the having of it, and a feeling is energy moving through your body. It is not the person or thing that you really want, it's the feelings that they stimulate. The object of your desire is in essence a container or a focal point for that which makes it easier to summon the feelings you want to feel inside yourself. But it is you who conjures and creates those feelings in response to your stimuli. So if you go through this process and you determine that the presence or absence of a partner determines if you are getting the A grade at life, you have a sophisticated inner child and protective part that is attached to old beliefs about worthiness and needing to earn that love. And this pinches you off from love. Therefore, the goal of this phase is to help you relax into the process, release whatever energetic blocks are tied to that core painful belief, and trust that healing is happening, even if it doesn't look like you think it should right away. And so during this phase, in lessons 7 through 9, we write a new narrative using EFT tapping techniques. We connect to your spirit guides and other wisdom keepers to gain intuitive insights on your next steps. We establish goals that resonate deeply with your soul curriculum, and we explore experiential tools to help you incorporate the rediscovered strengths of your inner child into your daily life. Then, as we move into the fourth phase, which I call Harmonize with Spirit, the primary question we are focusing on is how will you install these new beliefs? Most objections and misunderstandings that pop up sound like, well, once I've learned how to practice spirituality the right way, I'll never have to struggle again. Or conversely, if I have a bad feeling, then I'm doing it wrong, or I've lost touch with my spirituality. But the truth is, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. It is through the varieties and contrasts in our lives that we gain access to a wide range of emotion, and that allows us to feel our way through life rather than sterilely try to think our way around it. And so without sadness, we cannot know the sweetness of joy. And without failure, we could not make enough mistakes to finally realize and master the path to success. Additionally, this increasing range allows you to better evaluate the nuances of your emotional energy, which is the radio dial for your spiritual intuition. And so the goal in this phase is to integrate your spiritual practices into your everyday routine. Make them second nature so you can move through the world with more authenticity, presence, and compassion. To do this, we connect to a spirit animal and we deepen your bond with nature. We tap into archetypal consciousness, and this allows you to help your inner child embrace its authentic, playful side, inspiring more healing between the mind, body, and spirit. You'll finish this phase with ritual recipes to easily continue these practices in your daily life. And so by the end of our program, you will go from fearing vulnerability to trusting your capacity to weather the storms of life with playfulness and ease. You will go from feeling disconnected to feeling inspired by the wisdom within your heart and in nature. And you will stop relapsing into old patterns and start acting from a place of higher consciousness, achieving a sense of deep meaning and purpose in your life and relationships. Now, each piece is tremendously powerful on its own, but when they are combined together, that is when real transformations happen. It's about teaching you to ride the ever-evolving waves of love and life, as opposed to striving for an impermanent outcome. And of course, the paradox here is that once you can learn how to do that, all things will come to you in due time anyway. Additionally, if you are missing any one of these 4 parts of the framework, it's going to cause confusion down the line. These phases are presented in a very intentional and scaffolded way to support the evolving development of one concept on top of the other. For example, unless we get clear on the deeper spiritual lesson, successes tend to feel empty. Unless we identify the root pain, limiting beliefs will continue to filter your reality. Unless we adopt new beliefs, insight turns into double troubles. And unless we install new beliefs, nothing changes and we remain stuck. Removing any one of these 4 phases is like trying to drive a car with only 3 wheels. You're not going to get very far, and if you try, you will cause serious damage to the whole vehicle, and it won't be safe to drive anymore. Similarly, it would be irresponsible to ask you to connect to a vulnerable inner child and challenge their limiting beliefs without showing that inner child how to embody and adapt new patterns and beliefs and install them appropriately. These energy patterns and beliefs originally formed for a protective reason, and that has to be celebrated before they are released or given a new job. And that requires a properly scaffolded healing experience, which is what the Path framework provides. It's important to realize that your healing process should not be considered a punitive activity that burns you out with trying to perfect yourself. It should be an exciting, unfolding process, a process of self-discovery that evolves naturally as it was originally intended to, and that is with fun, creativity, playfulness, and curiosity. This is not a process of fixing what's wrong with you. This is a joyful commitment to delving into the endlessly fascinating and awe-inspiring, mysterious depths of you. But you don't have to take my word for it. Here are a few more testimonials from folks that have taken my Hungry Love Masterclass and experienced significant changes.
I was finding that I was drawing in men who, I thought maybe were trying to help me and protect me and rescue me, but really they were needing to be rescued. And then it would just kind of become this mess.
Tried basically everything. I read books, I took courses, and I talked to people, and I did so much work, and nothing really helped me.
I feel like your course was in line with my next level.
I loved all the art. And then I was going to say, but I loved all the somatic work and the breath work.
Doing it with other people it's a different vibe. It like kind of brings out different things. It's just helpful for everyone.
Some of the things that you had us write in the beginning about what we wanted and what we were looking for specifically in a person. When we got towards the end of the course, I went back and I looked at my notes, and the person that I was currently dating, oh my God, he makes every single point.
I didn't even know what my boundaries were. And to have that like reframe and a new way to think about a situation, you could just feel the energy shift.
It's like turning a crystal over and over again. And every angle, I saw it from a slightly different place.
Yes, I would absolutely recommend it. I mean, honestly, I will admit to being a course junkie. This one, I feel like brings together all of the things. It is phenomenal. It is rich.
It's just pretty incredible.
It makes me want to cry because it's so rare. I would never have thought that I could do this.
How do we take the ingredients of our lives and put them together in different ways to create alchemy?
Just dive in and be ready to be all in and give it your all. So it will be worth it.
Now I'm very, very hopeful that things will get much better.
It's magic.
Aren't those results inspiring? With the tailored live support you receive in Hungry Love Masterclass, you will have a complete roadmap to feeling more confident and secure in your relationships. Before my program, a lot of my students felt that healing had to look like counseling and talk therapy, love scripts and dating coaches, meditation, and a lot of self-help and online trainings. And they do gain some insight and benefit from those things. But there's no one clear path that showed them when and how they should be implementing and sequencing the knowledge and the tools that they have gained to effect long-lasting foundational changes tailored to their specific energy and attachment makeup. Because talking for 1 hour in a room with someone is hardly going to make a difference if you're just using the time to vent or feed your double troubles by aimlessly talking about your problems. Love scripts are only going to serve you until things get intimate and you have to go off script. Meditation is fantastic, but there are so many different types out there, and not everyone knows which type is best for them starting out, or how to match the type of meditation to their energy patterns. Self-help is also fantastic, but unless you have someone guiding you with an objective perspective and outside support, it is difficult to see into our blind spots. Now, I know all of that can be super frustrating, but the good news is that my framework fills in all of those gaps. The reality is no one goes from 0 to 100 overnight, and anytime you try to do that, you just wind up burning yourself out. Just like fad diets can work in the short term, but lead to a crash later, deep diving into self-help and personal development can create a kind of frenetic state of momentum and urgency that quickly burns you out if you're not careful. And so your progress starts to feel kind of like a roller coaster of extreme ups and downs because you're trying to jump ahead too fast. As we move through these 4 phases, there are smaller baby steps and milestones that you will go through, tackling one piece at a time, with each new lesson building upon the previous. As I mentioned before, this is a scaffolded approach that is super important to building a foundation for lasting changes. Just like developing small but healthier habits amounts to big transformational changes over time. Because it's important to realize that you will always have ups and downs throughout the rest of your life. You will always be navigating through cycles of purging limiting beliefs, awakening to new realizations, transforming your perspective, and then harmonizing with spirit. And so as you grow, so too does your energetic set point, which is this sort of invisible checks and balances that we all harbor for how much success we feel we deserve and will allow in our lives. But as you engage more conscientiously with this framework and acquire better tools for connecting to your spiritual core, there will be an underlying foundational sense of security and self-sovereignty that is growing steadily, making sure that every time you encounter a contrast or a conflict in your life, you are bouncing back faster with increasing resilience and landing a little bit higher on your growth trajectory. You never go all the way back down to where you started. Overall, my framework works so well, better than traditional talk therapy or coaching approaches, because it gets to the root cause of your attachment hunger and then provides you the tools to change those patterns for good, not just in the moment, and quite honestly, not only in the context of romantic relationship, although that is what I personally find interesting. Hungry Love Masterclass is a 12-step program that holds your hand through this 4-step framework while providing the crucial details that make all the difference, like the difference between a guided active imagination session versus a guided visualization and how and when to use them, or just the right mining scripts to bust through your unconscious blocks and see into your blind spots, or just the right sequencing of creative modalities to finally move that stuck energy that has been dragging you down. These details might seem small, but they make a huge impact when done correctly and in the correct order, and especially when they are missing or done incorrectly. And in case you might be thinking, oh, well, it will work for them, but not for me, let me reassure you, it is easy to succeed in this program. For example, Stephanie was a divorced single mom who on the outside appeared to be fiercely managing all the moving parts in her life with ease, but on the inside, she was feeling lonely and exhausted. Here's what Stephanie did after she enrolled in my course. She stopped beating herself up with automatic negative thinking. She learned to calm her nervous system at will. She mothered her own inner child. She adopted a loving stance towards herself and her body. And here's what she did not do. She did not skip over lessons or jump ahead. She didn't just skim the workbooks. She didn't treat the lectures like background noise. And she didn't ignore the experiential interventions or never participate in the live calls, Facebook group, or live stream Q&A sessions. And because of what she did and did not do, Stephanie experienced a reduction in her own anxiety and profound insights into how to improve her life and relationships overall.
Like on my day-to-day level and in relationships, I'm quite successful, but there's kind of this emotional wall. I feel like the meditations are like so incredible. That brings me into my ability to visualize. Just because you're not seeing all of it, there's still information like coming. One of my challenges is sort of my belief in my worthiness that I haven't even touched. I've done like years and years of talk therapy, right? And even like dream analysis and meditation and yoga and breath work. But yet that belief still stands. And so there's something really juicy and really scary about like realizing that essence is absolutely there and is absolutely pointing me to the information and intuition that I'm carrying all the time. My ability to sort of acknowledge my anxiety but not like react to it, I think has absolutely expanded through the class. It just gives you all the pieces. It's just pretty incredible.
Now, Stephanie didn't have some superhuman capacity that far outweighed her above the rest. She merely followed the framework and didn't miss a beat. Now, in this course, we combine powerful art therapy techniques with shamanic approaches in energy healing to develop a strong symbolic language for our emotional energy, engage with our inner child in playful and imaginative ways, and tap into a powerful spiritual practice to enrich our personal and spiritual understanding. Be sure to click the button below, and it will take you to our full information page. What would it be like to finally know what it is to experience lasting emotional fulfillment, where your heart is consistently filled with joy, contentment, and love in your relationships? What if you could wholeheartedly trust that your authentic self is cherished and embraced, leading to profound and unwavering connections that deepen over time? And who would you be if you were able to completely embrace the beauty of unconditional love, both giving and receiving, as you experience a love that knows no limitations? It's time to trust that you can relax into the brightest luminescence that is your spirit. But you cannot make radical transformations or attract abundance into your life, romantic or otherwise, with the same behavioral patterns and mindset that you've always had. Figure out what sparks your fire, stay the course, and find a community that will support you on every step of the journey. Now, if this resonates with you, I invite you to embrace Hungry Love Masterclass as the next step on that journey. Again, to learn more about the practical details of the program, including what payment options are available, check out the link beneath this training to view the detailed information page. If you have questions that are not answered by our FAQ section, please feel free to reach out to us at support@briannamcwilliam.com, and we will reply ASAP. Thank you for your time and attention, and I hope that I will be seeing you inside the program.